Welcome back to my Star Wars Legends Expanded Universe Chronological Timeline rating, where I go through the Expanded Universe according to my chronological timeline order and rank each and every one on a 10-point scale. Today I have The Conquest of Sith Space, which is a recording by Ajunta Pall. This was written by Ryder Wyndham and was published in The Essential Guide to the Force Jedi vs. Sith, which was published by Del Rey. This is a short story within that, taking place approximately 6,900 BBY, which was published in 2007. Now, in this story, we get to learn more about the founding of the Sith, how the Sith Order really come to be, and what led to their existence as an order. So it's all very, very, very interesting stuff. This story is written as a recollection by Ajunta Pall for his followers, and he talks about his comrades as his brethren in the Sith Order, and all of the descendants and followers of his teachings. And so it's a recording to tell of their history. And what's interesting is he mentions that the war with the Jedi that the followers of Ajunta Pall and his Dark Jedi fought lasted 100 years. That's longer than I thought it did last, but 100 years it lasted, which is quite some time. And he mentions something interesting. He says the Jedi are on how does he put it specifically? He says the Jedi have been walking on their treadmill of contentment. Is this implying treadmills exist in the Star Wars universe? I wasn't sure how to feel about that one. But then he goes on to talk about what we just read about in the last story, them creating beings, their defeat at where was it? Korbos, their defeat there, and then they're, instead of given death, they're made a public show of and exiled, never to return, just to show the Republic's power, and they're all salty, and they feel fear when they're going out into hyperspace. They don't know what's in store for them, but they crash on the planet of Korriban, and they come across the Sith and the Masasi, and the Sith species are eager to please them, and they're feeble-minded, they're not as intelligent, so they're able to conquer them and become their rulers, Dark Lords of the Sith. It mentions that they are strong, they're great warriors, but they're not very intelligent, and they do have some mastery over the Force, they do have some magic and illusions. They're very eager to please the newcomers. And he also mentions that a couple of them are able to repair some nav computers and go off towards Republic space to go fight them. And Ajunta Pall assumes that since they've not returned, and the Republic hasn't returned, that they're all good. The Republic is still not going to know where they are. They can wait for their revenge. So they assume that these people who went away from Korriban, these Sith, can have lost to the Republic or never even got there. They assume they've been defeated. And it's also mentioned that Sith, as a species, can breed with humans, which is important because that's partly why the Sith, as a species, die out, because pure-blooded Sith don't stick around for too long. This is a good story. I enjoyed this story. Further characterization for Ajunta Pall. He's a very interesting character. An Ajunta Pall novel would have been really cool. I still think there's room where you could fit in an Ajunta Pall-based novel. For kind of the first Sith, the first Dark Lord of the Sith, there's not really a lot of information about him, other than a couple of these short stories that give a tiny bit of characterization. So, all very good, very interesting lore, ties into Tales of the Jedi, Knights of the Old Republic. There's connections here that are very important moving forward. So if you're going to skip this and the last story, I'd recommend reading these. It gives some really important context that I was missing the first time I read through all of this. I was totally lost by the time I got to the SWTOR era and reading where all of this came to be, and these short stories would have really helped me. Some really great lore here. So these are some really important stories. I would give it a 4 of 10. It's a fun, good read. Lots of deep lore here. Some really good stuff in this primitive and primal age of the Sith, and they're just bursting onto the scene. Gonna be really cool to continue reading these going forward. Really good stuff here. So what about you guys? What did you think of this one? And let me mention, Marcel Ryan, the Revanchist, reads this story on his YouTube channel as always, and with the short stories at least, and we can always hope he reads every other piece of media eventually. Does his own playthroughs maybe? I don't know. But yeah, his audio readings are great, just impeccable, really great stuff. So if you're too lazy to read the story yourself, go let him read it for you. The link will be in the description. So what did you guys think of this story? I thought it was really good.